Howdy, I'm Raymond Monahan.
And I am for MEEN David Calderon. Introduction to the incident is January 29th, 1986, the STS-51L Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. To explain the part that failed, an O-ring on the lower section of the right side rocket booster did not properly seal to contain the exhaust produced by the fuel. This resulted in the exhaust penetrating or weakening the structure of the external fuel tank, resulting in the destruction of the vehicle. Explain the material that went into the part. The material that went into the part were rubber O-rings filled the gaps of the steel SRB panels.
Due to the temperatures in southern Florida prior to and during the launch being almost 20 degrees lower than SRB manufacturer minimum temperature recommendations, the rubber O-rings hardened in the below freezing temperatures. During the launch, when the heat of the craft would normally cause the rubber to expand to fill the O-ring channel that these O-rings were inlaid in, the hardened O-ring did not properly expand to fill the channel. This resulted in a gap in the lower stage O-ring channel. During flight, as exhaust exited the craft, it also exited through the gap left by the O-ring. The resulting extra exhaust weakened the wall of the external fuel tank. This created a resulting heat that was added, or that affected the fuel within the within this external fuel tank. The hydrogen-oxygen mix left Challenger sitting on top of a ticking time bomb. The resulting explosion destroyed the orbiter. However, many NASA experts believe that several of the astronauts survived the explosion, and it was the impact of the Atlantic Ocean that was the fatal cause of their death.
What has been done so far to improve the particular part and hence the whole machine? The redesign of the joint seal added a third O-ring and eliminated the troublesome putty, which served as a partial seal. Bonded insulation replaced the putty. A capture device was added to prevent or reduce the opening of the joint as the booster inflated under motor gas pressure during ignition. The third O-ring would be added to seal the joint at the capture device. The former O-rings would be replaced by rings of the same size but made of a better performing material called fluorosilicon or nitro rubber. Heating strips were added around the joints to assure the O-rings did not experience temperatures lower than 75 degrees Fahrenheit, regardless of the surrounding temperature. Also, the gap openings which the O-rings were designed to seal were reduced.
We believe that the improvements made by NASA in the years following the Challenger incident were satisfactory. And it's kind of ironic that we believe these improvements were satisfactory, as all of the improvement designs had been already pre-designed and pre-established. They just had to be implemented. And starting in 1985, NASA and the SRB manufacturers were already trying to implement these designs in the boosters. However, Challenger still used old boosters from the original space shuttle fleets. Our reasoning is that since the Challenger tragedy, NASA has not experienced any further difficulties with the SRB boosters or the O-rings or a gap in the O-ring channels. And even though NASA suffered the Columbia disaster in 2001, that difficulty was from the external fuel tank, not from the solid rocket boosters. Thank you.